Protein content online sounds almost too clean. Eat more, feel full, burn more, keep muscle, maybe lose weight. Before we rank it, what does high protein actually mean in a real diet? And how do we stop confusing protein grams with a whole eating pattern?
Start by separating protein grams from the diet carrying them. Protein can help because amino acids stimulate gut and brain satiety signals, require more processing energy than fat or carbohydrate, and provide building blocks for muscle protein turnover. But if someone simply adds shakes on top of the same calories, the outcome differs from replacing snack foods, strengthening breakfast, or preserving lean mass while dieting. That is why two diets with identical protein can behave differently. Whey, eggs, beans, fish, tofu, yogurt, and processed protein bars carry different fiber, sodium, saturated fat, sugars, minerals, texture, and chewing time. Food labels help you compare protein per serving, but the better question is, what came with it, what did it displace, and did the plate become more nutritious or merely more branded? A useful recent trial tested not just more protein, but protein timing during weight loss. Women on energy restriction were assigned to distribute protein more evenly across 3 meals or skew it toward dinner. The even group had lower reinforcement value for energy-dense snacks and ate less of those snacks in a lab test. That does not prove one perfect schedule, but it suggests breakfast and lunch protein can change the afternoon food environment.
So if a person says, "I'm not counting calories, I'm just going high protein," should we expect fat loss, or only expect appetite help if calories quietly fall? And where do claims about metabolic rate fit without overselling the size of the effect?
Exactly. A 2026 meta-analysis of ketogenic diets under comparable prescribed energy conditions found slightly greater short-term weight loss, about 1.5 kilograms, but certainty was low. The tricky part is that low-carb diets often change protein, food choice, water weight, and adherence together. So protein may be one helpful lever, especially for fullness, but it is not the whole explanation for every low-carb result.
Where does the usual kidney warning fit? Viewers hear both extremes. Protein is harmless for everyone, or protein is automatically kidney damaging. Who needs a clinician before pushing it higher? And who should avoid copying athlete or weight loss targets from the internet?
For muscle, protein is both a signal and a substrate. Essential amino acids, especially leucine-rich proteins, help trigger muscle protein synthesis after meals, while resistance exercise makes muscle more responsive to those amino acids. Older adults are important because many eat less total protein, have smaller breakfasts, or lose appetite. For them, familiar, enjoyable protein-enriched foods may work better than clinical-tasting supplements that sit unopened.
That sounds less glamorous than a giant tub of powder. In older adults, is the bottleneck actually physiology, or is it taste, texture, appetite, ease of chewing, and whether the food feels normal enough to keep eating week after week?
The gut evidence is a good reminder that source matters. In a small crossover feeding trial of men with cardiometabolic risk, a 1-month flexitarian diet with more plant protein did not change overall microbial diversity, but it shifted specific taxa and tryptophan-related metabolites. The authors suspected higher fiber, especially from legumes, helped push metabolism away from some animal diet-associated patterns. So the story was not plant protein powder wins, it was a whole meal swap. But we should not turn that into add any fiber supplement to any high-protein diet. A 12-week trial adding a potato fiber and sugar beet pectin mixture to a high-protein diet in adults with overweight found worse whole-body insulin sensitivity and signals of higher gut permeability in interleukin-6. That is not a verdict against beans, oats, vegetables, or legumes. It is a warning against assuming isolated stacks always behave like whole foods in a mixed diet. There is also a small probiotic story, but it is not ready for broad claims. In young male athletes taking 70 grams of whey daily, Bifidobacterium longum BB536 did not improve the whole cohort versus placebo on major gut outcomes. Some microbiome-defined subgroups had diarrhea or odor metabolite signals. That is hypothesis generating. Not a reason everyone on whey needs probiotics or stool testing.
If someone tries a higher protein pattern for 8 weeks, what should they track besides the scale so they know whether it is actually helping? Should the scorecard look different for appetite, training, aging, and digestion?
Track the reason you started. For appetite, look at afternoon hunger, unplanned snack calories, and whether meals feel satisfying without constant willpower. For muscle, pair protein with resistance training and watch strength, function, and recovery. Also, watch the diet getting worse. Constipation, fewer fruits or whole grains, rising saturated fat or sodium, or using protein rules to justify an overly restrictive pattern. A higher number is not a healthier pattern by itself.
Who is the best fit audience then? Is it mainly lifters, people dieting, older adults with low intake, or anyone whose breakfast is basically coffee and a pastry? And who should treat this as a plate redesign rather than a supplement project?
Best fit is the person with a specific gap: dieting and hungry, training and undereating protein, aging and losing meal size, or snacking because earlier meals are weak. The cleanest version is boring but powerful. Spread protein across meals, choose sources that also improve the plate, keep plants and fiber present, use powders as tools rather than identity, and change course if digestion, diet quality, or adherence worsens. Get medical guidance if kidney disease, pregnancy, complex illness, or therapeutic diets are involved.